What's poppin', y'all? I'm your man, James, Say What Sales Buckley, and I am a phone guy. I default to calls. I love talking to strangers. It's one of my favorite things about prospecting. So I'm gonna give you some strategies on cold calling right here and right now. If you're new to this channel, make sure that you're subscribing because we're dropping tips like fire all day. So like I said, I default to the phone. And according to the Brevet Group, over 92% of interactions with customers take place over the phone. Did you know that it takes an average of 8 cold calls to generate a meaningful conversation with a cold prospect? That's true. Also, 30 to 50% of all sales go to vendors who respond over the phone to their prospects. That's big numbers. 80% of all sales globally require 5 follow-up calls after the initial meeting. Don't get me wrong, I like email and DMs just as much as the next seller. But the phone is the choice because it gives us a voice. That tone and inflection that we're looking for is the thing that keeps people on the line and they want to talk with us. And let's make no bones about it. That's step 1. You've got to get people to want to talk to you. So use the phone more often and you'll find that it's easier to get that vibe across. Time is the #1 killer of deals. And when you're using just written form, you're playing the waiting game. Over the phone, you can handle any objection in real time. This is an advantage for the seller. Over the phone, you can also identify what a soft no feels and sounds like much easier than you can over email. Sometimes over email, that tone is lost, but when you're on the phone, you can hear how people say things. So here's a few examples of some soft no's that I get all the time. We're not interested, take me off your list. These are all soft no's because they don't really understand why you're calling in the first place. So when they say no to you, what they're really saying is, I don't have time to have this conversation right now. So here's 3 examples of when a phone call wins over email. Handling objections, recognizing and responding to soft no's, and the signature dial, my personal favorite. When you encounter an objection, sure, it's real easy and almost natural for us to hit the reply button and write some big, long, extravagant email trying to argue the point that we're right and maybe that objection is not valid. This is the bad way to go because 1, you're using email and you have to wait for a reply, and there's a good chance that that's going to get deleted or ignored. The second reason this is not working in your favor is because you're writing too much explaining why this objection is not valid. So instead, when they send that objection your way, just pick up the phone and dial their phone number and say, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Prospect, I'm calling to respond to your email. This is a great opener, and the phone call is so much more impactful than sending another email and playing the waiting game. One of the biggest challenges that every salesperson struggles with is we get a lot of soft no's. I gave you a couple examples, but let's talk about how to respond to soft no's. In most instances, the reason people give you a soft no is because they're unable to give you the time right now. In a lot of ways, we're trying to get people to take the time to have the conversation with us, and a lot of times this is in email form. If you pick up the phone when somebody responds to you and says, not interested, and your intent is to get them on the call and say, I want a little clarification as to what you're not interested in, this is a great way to start off a conversation, and the phone is so much more impactful than sending that in an email response and again, playing that waiting game, hoping that they reply. In this third example, it's a little bit more of a tactical tip. Look down in your email that your prospects are sending you. See their signature. Pick up the phone. Dial the phone number that's in their signature. Just because somebody wants you to respond in an email doesn't mean you have to. And just because they sent you an email doesn't mean that's the only channel that they like to be talked to with. So pick up the phone, look at the signature, dial that phone number, and you're gonna find people are willing to have the conversation with you. And let's be frank, if they just sent that email, there's a good chance they're at their desk and will probably answer that call. If you found these tips helpful, make sure that you click that subscribe button where you get all of our tips and strategies that come your way and they can help you attain quota and crush those goals.